I want to spend some time talking about it. What's going on in Federalist State? So how does this essay work?
He's still prophetic. He's so concrete. He's what struck me first was how concrete anything was. It wasn't idealistic, abstract. This will happen. This will happen.
Right. Okay, great. And what is he? What's he basing this on?
I think it sounds like his sense of history, his awareness of history, that desire, to point you to that oft-quoted thing about we'll end up being like because they have fortifications and make war and so forth, we'll end up like them if we, like the old countries.
I think he's thinking of the 30 Years' War. He's thinking of things the horrors of the Western European continent. And he's saying if we don't band together, we're going to end up like that.
So, and to be more safe, then at length we run the risk of being less brave. Yeah, which sounds way too much like today.
It's a little, but he also says Britain is protected by being an island. And we're not. He's not worried about, he doesn't seem so worried about foreign invasion as he's worried about relationships between the states. Mm-hmm. And think of 1861, he wasn't wrong about that.
Okay, so if we do not have some sort of highly centralized government, this seems to suggest that and each state is left to provide for its own military defense, we run the risk of creating some delta in terms of defense, whatever preparedness across the states that could then lead potentially to civil war. Okay. Good. This is an interesting concern. What else does Federalist State pop up? Yeah.
He's raising awareness, and we've all been exposed to this recently,
Yes.
and well aware of it. This is 115, the last sentence in the full curve. It is of the nature of war to increase the executive at the expense of the legislative authority.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I don't know where we could possibly think of this as being in it, right? But surely, right? But why? Why for Hamilton is that the nature of war? What is it about war that is somehow increasing executive and not legislative authority? He's being really pragmatic here, right?
Yeah, you're mobilized, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So yeah. Let's keep going. Why does the executive seem to take over?
Well, Hamilton was all into that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he was a big advocate of centralization of power. That was his thing. And, what killed me when reading this, I think like just a couple of years later, the first army they created was wiped out. The Battle of the Wabash by paying the Confederacy. Totally wiped out. And, you sort of have to say to yourself, and then you also see the tension between the militia, because all these guys were veterans of the Revolutionary War. They know the militia basically looked Battle of the York lost because of the militia not being able to fight as well as regular troops. So these were things they really were conscious of being veterans of the Revolution. And, and the whole standing army thing, Hamilton is a big advocate. I'm not a big fan of that. But he's a big advocate of centralized power and national power. That's his thing. And so, if he's posing it as a question, it's sort of amusing to read, in a way. And then he quotes Lysander, which is important is Lysander's an admiral of the Spartan Navy who sets up tyrannies as he spreads his power as an admiral. As a Spartan admiral, it's very interesting to see how he selectively decides to use classes for his own purposes.
Oh, sure. Oh, I mean, yeah, right. Of course, there's not going to be anything like that. But yeah, right. Yeah, he is gonna pick and choose, and there is something interesting here about a desire for a centralized authority, particularly when it comes to military matters. And again, it comes back to, I think, at least at this moment, to a kind of pragmatism that in warfare we don't have always time for the committee to come through, right? We need immediate, and we need the strong man to come in and save us. But I think that there's a recognition here that you can go too far, and that it can descend into tyranny. I want to look at at another passage near the end on 116 onto 117. In a country the predicament last described, the contrary of all this happens. The perpetual menacings of danger oblige the government to be always prepared to repel it. Its armies must be numerous enough, I'm in the bottom of 116, for instant defense. The continual necessity for their services enhances the importance of the soldier and proportionally degrades the condition of the citizen. The military state becomes elevated above the civil. The inhabitants of territories, often the theater of war, are unavoidably subjected to frequent infringements of their rights, which serve to weaken their sense of those rights. And by degrees, the people are brought to consider the soldiery not only as their protectors, but as their superiors. The transition from this disposition to that of considering them masters is neither remote nor difficult, but it is very difficult to prevail upon a people under such impressions to make a bold or effectual resistance to usurpation supported by the military power. What's Hamilton saying here? What's the other worry?
Despotism. I mean,
Well, that a standing army will make its own power structure that won't be answerable to the civilian government, and that a powerful general, looking at you, Washington, but a powerful general could simply take charge of this parallel leadership structure and intimidate the population.
So,
There goes civil government.
So part of the worry, part of what Washington was working against in the Newburgh conspiracy, was to prevent something perhaps simply or a walk down that path. What else can we make out? I mean, just out of this paragraph, I think it's interesting about the relationship between the citizen and the soldier. What's Hamilton going on about?
well, it sounds like he's arguing against the separation of, the citizen control over the soldier at some level. I don't know.
He's also worried about professional soldiery, I think, about someone whose life becomes so dedicated to the military that they no longer have contact with or affection for the civilian. The civilian doesn't, the military population, the civilian population become disparate.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right. I'm not saying it right. But
Well, but you set aside one identity to assume the other.
yes, and that they're not. He doesn't.
Is this a-
He's worried that we won't have soldiers. We'll have citizens and we'll have soldiers. And we'll have a professional class that won't be responsible to it.
One is armed and one is not, and that's and this is the part of the pragmatic power imbalance that he will. So is the solution then just the militia and no professional military? What's the advantage of having a highly trained, available, professional military?
Well, I think the key word is professional in a way. It sounds like it's meant to be negative, but in fact, I don't know how he means it. I think professional army means they are responsive to leadership and do what is asked of them, but they operate within rules of conduct and so forth. I don't know if that's what he meant.
I like that very well. Is Washington appealing to a kind of professionalism, or is he appealing to something else? I'm wondering.
I don't know. And I'm wondering how you get all of these men, meaning the non-officer class who actually are doing the fighting. It's not just with money. What do what keeps them there? What makes them fight? What makes them follow you?
Oh,